Hello and welcome to the Little Manchester Kitchen. Today I'm going to be making a dinner party classic, beef bourguignon. We have beef, we have garlic, onion, carrot, some bay leaves, a bit of thyme, mixed herbs there, that's got some fresh rosemary, a bit of butter for frying. Bourgignon is from the Bourgignon region of France, so that's famous for Pinot Noir apparently, according to the internet, so we've got some of that. And then towards the end we're going to fry some bacon, more onions, some nice carrots there, button mushrooms, we're going to make some mash. Also got a plate with some flour on it, we're going to dice up all the beef into that flour, get that on in a hot pan, get that fried up. Okay, so we've got the beef floured, that's going into there. When it's browned off, putting that out on the side here. Now's probably a good time to set the oven onto 160, and then I'm going to start preparing the veg. This is going to get chucked into that pan straight after I've done the beef. But at this stage you don't need to make your veg look pretty, this is going in for flavour. So I've just roughly cut the onions into eighths, chop the carrot up quite roughly, mash the garlic, cut it a little bit, the bay leaf, the thyme, pinch the mixed herbs, that's going to go in now. So you might be able to notice an improvement in the picture quality from now on. That's because my lovely assistant has returned to hold the camera. I'm just browning off the onions in the oil. I changed the oil from before because with the flour you can just kind of get stuff burnt to the bottom of one of these pans, so it's cleaner now. You don't want that burnt stuff on the bottom, that'll ruin the flavour. So the onions have been on for about a minute. I'm going to chuck the carrots in. You want the heat on this, like with the beef, to be good to firm in places. I've got it on a 4 out of 6 here, so you'll know what works for you at your oven. Okay, so for beef bourguignon, apparently it's from the Burgundy region. Had a little look today, they're famous for Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. So I've managed to get myself a bargain Pinot Noir from Aldi here for about £4.40. Pretty good, but most of it's going to be going in there. So I've got an extra one, just for drinking. Okay, so just throwing in the garlic, now I'm going to put in a bit of a dollop of thyme. The flavours in that. Put some of this herb mix, it's mainly rosemary, and some of the fresh herbs. I'll be able to tell you what. And our bay leaves. I've got the bay leaves from a Chinese supermarket about 2 years ago, so they're a bit shriveled and dry. You might want better quality ones than I'm using. But that smells great. As soon as it's hit the oil, it just smells fantastic. Okay, so on the recommendation of Michelle Roux, we should actually put in a little dash of brandy at this stage as well. So we're going to just put a little splash of that in. Now we're going to add the wine and simmer that for a few minutes. Good slug of wine. It's about 2/3 of the bottle. And now we're going to leave that to simmer down, reduce by about 1/3 to 1/2. Before adding the meat. Okay, so you can see that this is reduced down beautifully. It's thickened up, the onions and the carrots have taken on a red wine sheen. I'm going to add the meat back in at this point. Stir that in.
Can't see it.
Thank you, cameraman. And then we're going to add 400ml of beef stock. If you didn't have that on your ingredients list, because I forgot to say it at the start, then you need 400ml of beef stock. We've got an oxo cube in hot water, it should do just as well. And then we're going to cook this for a couple of minutes, left on the pan with the lid on, and then I'm going to transfer it to the oven, which is now at 160 degrees and is beautiful. Okay, so I've turned the heat off on that now. Just going to set the spoon aside. Grab some oven gloves and put this in the oven for, well, until the meat's tender. So that's either going to be an hour and a half, 2 hours, I think, with this meat. Prepared in advance. Okay, so we're just putting the potatoes on for the mashed potato now. Okay, so now we're going to do the onions to serve as a garnish. Big lump of butter, that's going to go in and get melted. That's probably a bit too big. So the rest of that will go in with the carrots in a second. The onions, as previously, they're kind of cut into an eighth of an onion. It's probably worth better if you've got like little shallots or something like that. So this is going to go in with the butter, and then we're going to braise it. So I'm also going to add a tablespoon of the sauce from in the pan and 4 tablespoons of hot water at the kettle. Okay, so we're just going to take a spoon of sauce off the top of this to cook in with the onions. It's going to give them a lovely flavour. And hopefully this should cook them so that they're braised. This should soften with a nice shine to them. Okay, so the casserole's been in for about an hour and a quarter at this point. It's going back in. It should take us 20 minutes or so to finish off with the garnish. So that should give us the time that we were looking for. So we're going to cut the carrots into quarters, kind of through the half and then through the half again. Again, as with the onions, it probably works better if you just buy small ones to begin with, rather than buy big ones and cut them down, but I'm working with what I've got. Okay, so just testing the potato. The fork's going into it pretty easily, but I'm just going to give that another 30-40 seconds. What I'm then going to do is do a bit of switcheroo with some of the pans, because I think that one will be ideal for doing the carrots in. And then I'm going to use this one to do bacon, mushroom. Okay, so yeah, I'm just switching the onions to this pan. I think they'll braise a little bit better in there. Then I shall use this one with that leftover little bit of butter from before. It's not as unhealthy as it looks, honest. Carrots, slightly fewer than we cooked earlier. Somebody was eating them, weren't they, camera woman? And then this water that I've just drained off the potatoes. Just enough to cover. And then we're going to leave that to cook down, and it should cook away most of the water. At that point the carrots should have a nice sheen to them and they should be cooked through. Okay, so to do the mashed potato, I've just checked with the masher that it's just crumbling a bit first. It's the ideal consistency. We'll put in some whole grain mustard, a knob of butter and some whole milk. And there we have some lovely mustard mash. And now we're going to do the bacon. I'm just cutting that into a hot pan with the scissors here, little pieces. We're just going to kind of cook this, crisp it, and I'm going to do the mushrooms in the same pan. The trick with mushrooms, you want to make sure they dehydrate, so you don't want to overfill the pan and you don't want to stir them too much. So I'm going to do the bacon first, kind of push it to one side, and then let the mushrooms take centre stage. Smells so good. Does anything smell better than bacon? Okay, so these onions have mushed down now. They're pretty much done, and they're going to taste delicious. So I've just taken those off the heat. Carrots still pretty firm. going to leave those to bubble away for a bit longer. Bacon's starting to crisp. Okay, so that bacon, that's got a bit of brown to it. That's lovely. Just a little bit of butter into the pan, and then mushrooms. Okay, so the mushrooms are just starting to brown. Onions are delicious, they're done. Carrots just simmering away, they should almost be done. Just try to turn a few of those out. Okay, so now we're ready to bring out the big boy. That's been cooking for an hour and 45 minutes. It's just sizzling hot there because the hob is still hot. All the hobs are still hot. Look at that. I mean, it was purple when we put it in. It's now kind of a rich red-brown kind of next to the meat. Can we see that? That's kind of got a purple sheen almost to it. No, it's not really focusing. But that looks fantastic. Okay, so we've got this lovely beef. It's almost falling apart. These onions cooked in the sauce, they're fantastic. Mushrooms, just a little bit firm. The bacon, slightly browned. Braised carrots, the mustard mash, the lovely gravy. Fantastic. Bon appetito.